My next brief upload is with regard to the shortcomings and the discrepancies with regard to the circumstances I've experienced since 2019 in particular. There has been an exploitative opportunity by individuals that are of repeat offences that have continued to cause offence to my royal patronage, and it just highlights that simple measures that law-abiding citizens, and in particular women and married mothers and women of legislation and etc., it just highlights when measures aren't put in place, the initial offences and the outcomes are a little bit more serious. As I've mentioned, there have been violations of privacy, there's been breaches of confidentiality, and there's just been matters broached that shouldn't have been broached at all by people that have been of offence and of defamation. So there's just been a few discrepancies that are quite serious, that are beyond PTRB, that are beyond protection laws, that are beyond the expectations and obligations of the government to my identity, my work, and my purpose. So as I've mentioned, there have been individuals of practices that aren't really feasible with this entire matter. It's quite serious that there's been damages to a spiritual purpose. There's been disrespect to the identity of that purpose. It's pretty serious that my matrimony has been disrespected and my role as a mother has been disrespected, and that I have not received what I'm entitled to, and that there has been so much exploitation, so much monetary gain, and my entitlements have been overlooked to accommodate the culprits that have been offending the state and the Declaration of Human Rights. Now, from my personal perspective as an educator and as a humanitarian, the Declaration of Human Rights is a pretty important document, and it's particularly important up to the present date. So it just really concerns me that these issues of positive politics that aren't being respected, and the purpose of my work and the positive outcomes of my work are being disrespected. And as a recovery advocate that has helped many people, as I've mentioned throughout the uploads, this is just really insulting and injurious, and it's really not setting a good example. So I'm really concerned about the professionals that are playing Russian roulette with my ancestry, hereditary, culture, qualifications, individuals discussing my qualifications, and they're strangers. That's all quite serious. That's a very serious breach of confidentiality as well, and privacy. So there've been these issues highlighted in this entire treasonous vendetta, and there's been positive gains and there's been negative behaviours. So I'm just curious as to what the next set of procedures would be for a government that is obligated to safeguard law-abiding citizens of the democracy of the European Union that have positively contributed to society and that have unjustly experienced what I've experienced. Individuals that are disrespecting their professions and demonstrating negative behaviours is not of positive progress. And as a humanitarian, that's my objective, and as a teacher, that has always been my objective. So the example being set is quite questionable. Individuals discussing simple matters as to my personal, private life, these are matters that aren't for other people's interests. So I'm just wondering, how many more offences am I going to be experiencing with regard to the negligence and the inconsiderate, discourteous behaviours that are being demonstrated due to treason? I have entitlements. And as a law-abiding citizen, my property and my purpose and my profession and my privacy are paramount. People discussing matters that are of no relevance to them is quite cheeky, and people deciding about my property and my purpose and profession is not tolerable. So I'm just wondering if professionals out there would care to empathise with my circumstances and a collective group of people that are helping themselves to my fortune and my quality of life, intruding upon me on a daily basis. I'm wondering how would they like to empathise with these circumstances, and especially with regard to identifying with the positive developments that have come about since I commenced my work as a humanitarian and as a teacher that people have been benefiting from. So it's all very curious and questionable how people could be so petulant, and it's quite insulting to progress, as I keep mentioning. So I'd appreciate the Honourable Government fulfilling its obligations. There's an ombudsman procedure since 2017. And there's false reporting repeat offences, and there's trespassing and intrusions and unlawful actions. So if the Honourable Government and its professionals, practitioners and politicians would care to address these very serious issues, it would be greatly appreciated. There are young people that are observing this issue, and it's not really setting a good example. So for the youth of tomorrow, the new generation, I think this is a point in history that would demonstrate really positive outcomes if there was proper procedures, protocol for right patronage, etc., all observed and adhered to. People designating and deciding about another person isn't exactly positive. So that's my upload for today again regarding this matter.